What's going on, guys? John here from John's Fishing Channel. Thanks for tuning in. It's a new Thursday. Sorry I missed the last couple weeks. You guys know I lost my camera. I've also been really busy, so it kind of was just a whole fiasco, and I've been really busy. What do you think you're doing, Doodle? You made my fishing video? So today I thought I'd talk a little bit to you guys about, I just had the Bronco out, so my hair is kind of wind blowing. I'd be talking to you guys a little bit about what's in my tackle box and what I take out fishing with me when I go. Both when I'm going out in the float tube, which this is all the stuff I use when I go out float tubing, and also the stuff that I would take out on a boat with me. So, I have two different tackle boxes here. I have kind of like a little one, which is quick, you know, filled up with all the good stuff, get out and go type of tackle box. I keep some worms in here, extra line, extra reels. And this is my mother tackle box, so daddy of all tackle boxes, as you would say. It's got extra reels, it's got bait, it's got everything that I'm going to need to get the job done fishing. First things first, I have two reels, well, I have four reels, Shimano S2000s, then I have a Shimano S500, which is the smaller one, three big ones and one little one, and I'll usually throw these two in the backup suitcase. I don't actually have a rod right now that can really accommodate the small reel. These are the only two rods that I have. They're St. Croix rods. They're fantastic. I really like them. They come with a lifetime warranty, which is really cool. But I always go out, I always bring in at least one extra reel, and usually one or two extra spools, one being on the extra reel and then an extra one. Bringing extra spools of line can be really important. You know, if you go out fishing a lot, you go out 3, 4, 5, 6 times with the same rod, the same spool, the same line, it could end up getting messed up. And instead of having to like cut your day short and end your whatever fishing you want to do, you know, you can only bobber fish because you have a little bit of line left and you can't really cast it out. That's where having the extra line is going to come in big and be really important. And hey, you don't know, you might catch a huge fish, you could run off all your line and just snap it off and take it. So I always have extra line and extra reels with me just in case. This is kind of like a really important must-have item of fishing equipment. Bug spray is another big thing I always throw in my tackle boxes. If I'm going out at night, I'll use a flashlight or a headlamp. I prefer the headlamps versus the flashlight. I will have a flashlight with me, but the headlamp is so nice because it's hands-free and it also illuminates whatever you're looking at. I've got a variety of rubber worms here that you can see. Power baits, Zooms, Bass Pro Shop, Gander Mountain worms, Yum. I've kind of just been trying them all. Haven't really had too much success with any of the stuff that I have here out in California. So this is really kind of like a Midwest informative fishing video of what you're going to have in your tackle box and what's going to work to catch what. Alright, first things first, we'll just go ahead and look through the big tackle box at some of the stuff that I have laid out in here. You can see I've got the extra spools. This is kind of my weedless stuff, top water right here. Got some extra hooks, leaders. Right here is going to be kind of our deep running box, deep divers. We've got big weights, big spoons. You can see the plastic diver right on the front of the lure. That actually dictates how deep the lure is going to go and what it's going to do and how it's going to swim. If I take out something right here, you'll notice it has just a tiny little plastic piece compared to this. This is what they call a deep diver, deep runner. This would be a shallow diver, shallow runner, crayfish, minnow. So this is my deep water box. This is where I tend to keep all the bigger lures that'll catch bigger fish, that'll run deeper. These are pretty cool, they sink. These are great. Perch imitation is fantastic for catching walleye, largemouth bass, muskie, pike, anything like that. The minnows are pretty good too. These deep running minnows are a little bigger, they catch bigger fish. You know, and if something's just out cruising in the open water, you're going to find them. All sorts of different designs and patterns. You can see this is the salmon pattern, this is the shark tooth pattern, and then we have another kind of like an orangish pattern right here. Got some spoons. Got to have a deep running crayfish. Crayfish work really well in really clear rocky water, in rivers, lakes, ponds, whatever. Wherever there's crayfish tend to be a great lure. Got a couple bobbers, spinner baits, stuff like that. Swivels. I'm not a big fan of swivels, but occasionally they do pay off. Got to have your weighted jigs for your worms. Very important. Got a couple weights here. Got a couple setups for walleye. They're called Lindy rigs. I'm not going to really go into what they are and how they're used or what they're made out of, but you can make your own Lindy rigs. They're a type of lure that's used to catch walleye. I don't know a lot about walleye fishing. I'm not very good at it. I've never really actually actively tried to go out and hunt walleye because I've never actually been able to find a lake that I wanted to fish that have walleye in them. So they're kind of a different fish. They act different. They're predators. They hunt at night. They like deep water, they like cold water, so there's a lot of different stuff that you got to go and focus and I would say fixate on if you want to catch walleyes. Hopefully I'll get out there and catch some eventually. Got one empty tackle box for all my, you know, future tackle, stuff like that. This is the shallow running box. We have some imitation minnow, imitation jointed minnow with a perch. This is really cool because it imitates like a wounded minnow, and it is kind of flicking its tail along, trying to swim. Swims near the surface. Bunch of crayfish, a couple big North Shark tooth lures. These are called jerk baits. They're really long, skinny baits with lob treble hooks, and you jerk them through the water like this. And when they go like that, it looks like there's something wrong with them, and fish will use them kind of as an easy target for easy prey. So, a couple more hooks in here. I'm not exactly sure what those are. Those are glass beads for something. I have no idea what those are for or where they came from. They could have something to do with Lindy rigs. A couple bullet weights here. Bullet weights go on the line before the hook, and they work freely. And they're kind of cool because you'll yank your line, and then the weight will fall, and then the hook will fall behind it and creates kind of like a little pattern. And this is my topwater box. Everything in here is floats, and we'll catch them on the top. The only thing that I could really have any luck with out here, I think, are these frog imitation lures you see right here, because they tend to work really well. I also picked up a couple other lures that I haven't actually got in the tackle box yet. A couple big buzz baits are supposed to work really good here. And these are called Super Spooks, Super Spook Junior. I've never used these or heard of these in the Midwest, but apparently they work really, really, really good in California. They have them in the Midwest. They're just not that popular. But you can find them in big fishing stores, people who sell fishing lures, stuff like that. They are out there, so we're just going to set back those. So that's pretty much, you know, my main tackle box. This stays at home. I always have it. One cool thing about making this video for you guys is I actually get to look through my tackle box and kind of see what I have and what I don't have and take inventory and find a lot of stuff. I would always recommend bringing a pliers with you or a forceps of some kind. Hooks can get stuck. Sometimes fish have really big teeth. Sometimes you need to cut you know, your lure hook off because it's just stuck in the fish, or cut your lure off. So you want a pair of pliers. Highly recommend that you bring those out with you. I have two pairs, one in each bag, so I don't accidentally take one from the other bag and then end up without a pliers. So when I head out fishing by myself in my float tube or on my boat, you know, or from shore, I usually pack up this little guy. It's a nice tiny little tackle box. It's convenient. It holds a whole lot of tackle. Here's all my shallow water divers. Pretty much everything that you saw in the big box. Crayfish, imitation minnows, perch, bait fish, jerk baits, jointed rapalas, which are of course going to imitate a wounded fish. Here is my topwater stuff. I've got the weedless frog, which is a big favorite of mine, and the lily pads or any type of surface weeds. Skitter poppers, awesome bait. They work really well. Propeller baits, crippled killer is what that one's called. They usually are very, very successful. And remember, if you have all these lures, you know, when you break a hook or you lose a hook, you can always replace the hooks on them. So don't go getting rid of lures just because they're broken. This is just kind of a little bit of everything. You know, I've got my hooks in here, my spoons, my jigs, another frog, a shallow diver, a couple bucktails, stuff like that. And bucktails are really good for catching northern and muskie. They will pull in bass too, but typically, you know, they're used for predator fish that are big, and you're going to troll for them. You just huck it out there and bring it back. Muskie love those things. The bigger ones work better. And then, of course, I have my all my deep running lures right here. Same thing. Just got, you know, deep shark tooth, deep salmon, deep perch. I've got this little thing. It's supposed to be like an imitation leech. I've caught one or two bass on it in my day, so I keep it in the tackle box. And then a couple really big weights, just in case. So, that's my tackle box video. I hope you guys appreciated it, and I hope it kind of helped you guys, you know, just kind of think about, oh, what am I going to use to go out fishing? When I go out fishing, how do I prepare? What do I take with me? What's going to work? And during different times of the years in different parts of the country and different parts of the world, different stuff works at different times. So you really, I mean, I have all of this kind of as just variety. You know, it's a variety of lures that I can select. I can kind of pick and choose what I'm going to take with me when I go out, and I'll have all the options. Like I said, a lot of this stuff doesn't really work out in California though, so I'm actually going to be bringing a lot of this stuff back to Minnesota next time I go, bringing it up to my cabin and leaving it there because, like I said, the type of lures don't work out here. There aren't perch. There aren't a lot of different of these types of color pattern schemes that I have that the fish are interested in. They're more into different type of stuff out here. And one of the really, really interesting things about California, fishing in general, it is literally probably one of the heaviest fished fish populations, or fish habitats, whatever you want to call it. Everywhere the fish are, people are seeking them out actively and fishing them in California and trying really, really, really hard to catch fish. What does that mean for us? That means that the fish out here are really smart. They don't buy into fake lures. They don't buy into a lure that you are using that doesn't have a good presentation. So if you have a lure that you don't know how to use and you don't know what it's supposed to do, you don't really have a good chance of catching a fish out here in California because the fish are that smart. They see it and they know that there's something wrong with it. It's not normal. It's not right. It doesn't trigger those natural instincts for them to boom attack. But if you get the right lures and you use the right setup and you fish them correctly, you can catch a lot of big fish in California, which is really, really cool. Hopefully I'll be going out and fishing with a couple guides here in the next few months in California. Do some fall bass fishing. We're going to hopefully get out on the ocean and go fishing before Thanksgiving. But I'll also be headed home. I'm going deer hunting this year. I'm not going to make any videos about that because honestly, it's just a whole lot of controversy and stuff that I don't need in attention. I personally really, really, really enjoy deer hunting. It's something I grew up doing in the Midwest. It's something that we've been doing for hundreds and hundreds of years to sustain the way that we live. And all of the meat and animals that I shoot end up getting eaten or donated to places that are going to take the meat and use it to feed people that need it. So I just don't, I don't want to create a whole controversy and start talking about guns and hunting and all that stuff and have a lot of people be like, I love guns, I love hunting, and then have the opposite, I hate guns, I hate hunting, because honestly, I think it's a little backwards. Unless you're like a vegan that doesn't eat, eggs or anything produced by an animal, you can't really sit there and argue that I'm a horrible person for going hunting and then go to McDonald's and get a cheeseburger or go to KFC and get some chicken or go out and order a big steak. You know what I mean? So that's just my thoughts on that and philosophy on that. So I'm going to bring all this stuff home. I'm going to make a couple fishing videos. Cold water, freezing, not quite winter, not quite late fall. Well, it'd be super late fall fishing videos, and it'd be really cold. Should be really hard to catch the fish. It should be an interesting little challenge. So hopefully I can get back into making weekly videos for you guys. Next week we're going to be talking about my float tube setup.